Rachel Posner. I live in Salt Lake and I love the Great Salt Lake. I spend a good amount of time trying to convince other people to go there. Whenever I have visitors, I always take them to the lake because I feel like it's really special. It's a really different environment than any place I've been before. They usually start by asking whether they can actually get in the water. My answer is yes. In the 1870s, Utahns considered bathing in the Great Salt Lake a natural remedy for respiratory conditions, digestive disorders, and other chronic illnesses. LDS apostle Orson Pratt said, "We cannot sink in this water. We roll and float on the surface like a dry log. I think the Salt Lake is one of the wonders of the world." Thousands of people flocked to the salt air resort to swim. Bathing costumes were made from wool, mohair, or summer flannel. Wallace Stegner said, "Swimming in the brine is exhilarating, but you will be uncomfortable later unless you shower in fresh water. Otherwise, you end up crusted with salt like a herring." These days, on the beaches of the Great Salt Lake, you'll find tourists checking out the water, but you seldom will find a local Utahn enjoying the still, warm waters at sunset. Maybe a better question would be, why don't locals swim in the Great Salt Lake anymore? Maybe it's the smell? In the hot summer, the lake can have a pungent sulfuric scent. Some call it lake stink, claiming it reeks of rotting brine shrimp carcasses. Could it be the bugs? After the adult brine flies hatch, the brown pupal casings pile up in often miles-long masses along the shoreline. In fact, the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources counted 7 billion pupal casings along just 6 miles of the Antelope Island Causeway, which is more than the total number of human beings on the entire planet. In early spring, there are biting gnats, but according to Great Salt Lake Institute Director Bonnie Baxter, they go away once it gets hot. Along with the billions of brine flies and millions of birds, the Great Salt Lake is filled with tons of brine shrimp, or amazing sea monkeys. They were made famous by Harold von Braunach, who created the X-ray specks that were also sold in the back of comic books in the late 1950s. Sea monkeys got so popular that astronaut John Glenn took 400 million amazing sea monkeys into space with him in 1998 aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery. The 16th of May each year is National Sea Monkey Day. Brine shrimp are a valuable food source to the 10 million migratory birds stopping at Great Salt Lake to fuel up for their long migrations. While not as salty as the Dead Sea, which is 34% salt, the Great Salt Lake varies between 5 and 27%. The Earth's oceans have an average salinity of 3.5%. I've had a number of I would maybe almost call them peak experiences there, particularly floating experiences. And I just find the space to be really magical. I feel like it's a really kind of otherworldly space in nature that is so different from almost any place I've been before. There's that way that it perfectly reflects the environment so that when you're in it, you are sometimes angled so that it's almost like you're laying on a mountain because you're seeing the reflection of the hills around you in the lake. I like to stand up paddleboard, and really as soon as you get away from shore, you feel like you're in a different place. That's how it feels like for me to float on the lake, that as soon as you are on your back, you are immersed in a different environment than you were just 5 minutes before. Today, most people found floating the Great Salt Lake are likely to be tourists. Floating on the Great Salt Lake is one of Utah's hidden secrets. Once you wade into the lake past the mucky, smelly mud and the clouds of brine flies, there is a magic that happens as you slip into the calm water of the largest salt lake in the Western Hemisphere.